Welcome back to JB Reviews. I've been wanting to do a video on the Chevron deference, but I haven't really had time to really wrap my head around what it means, things like that. So in this video, we're going to discuss that. Now, on top of that, because of what I do know about it, I want to ask the question, do you guys think that the federal government and really the entities within it, like the EPA, should they pay back the money that they took from businesses and from Cummins for this cheating, as they call it? One thing I will tell you is this. I never really understood how the EPA was able to get money out of the manufacturers, because even though they call the cheat devices on the trucks a way to get around emissions, the emissions things are still intact on the truck. So I've always had some issues with that. I'm like, well, I don't understand. Like, it's not like the emissions is not on the truck, but for some weird reason, I haven't really been able to get a definitive answer of why. I know that they are saying that they were able to maybe emit a certain amount of emissions, maybe, but again, at the end of the day, if the systems are on the truck, how could they emit more emissions into the atmosphere? But yeah, let's go ahead and discuss this article that I found. It seems like a good one that BBC wrote up, and we will get into the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet, and yeah, be sure to like the video if you like it.
The article goes on to say, the Supreme Court in a 6-3 vote killed a legal precedent that conservatives have attacked for decades, known as the Chevron deference. Today, the court places a tombstone on Chevron no one can miss. Justice Neal, one of the most conservative members, wrote, the deference set in 1984 in a case involving the oil giant gave federal agencies wide powers to interpret the laws and decide the best ways to apply them. In ending the deference, the conservative majority court has slashed and severely weakened the powers of agencies, including the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA. The aftershocks of such a seismic decision will be felt throughout the federal government. Let's take a look at how we got here. What was the Supreme Court case about? While Chevron deference may sound like a chess strategy, it actually refers to a landmark Supreme Court ruling, Chevron versus Natural Resources Defense Council. The court decided in 1984 that judges should defer to federal agencies in interpreting ambiguous parts of statutes.
A lot of times people will say to me, whenever I discuss politics on this channel, they'll say, the government has nothing to do with the emission stuff on the truck. Let me read this really quickly. In ending the deference, the conservative majority court has slashed and severely weakened the powers of agencies, including the Environmental Protection Agency. And if you scroll down, it also said, this is a big win for conservatives, okay? So it said that there. And then this is a defeat for the Biden administration, which argued that throwing out the Chevron deference would be de-establishing. So when you think about these entities, when you think about the Green New Deal, their goal is to control what we can buy. So as I've said in many other videos, when you think about the Chevy Silverado with the 3-liter diesel, the baby Duramax as I call it, that engine can get nearly 30 mpg. So technically, if we want to discuss and talk about fuel efficiency, well, wouldn't it make sense for us to just start buying more diesel engines, right? Especially the Volkswagen Jetta TDI. I used to sell Volkswagens. Don't like the customers, but I remember those people love the TDI. They bought those things like they were going out of style. And remember, Volkswagen was liable back in the day to buy back that car simply because of the emissions cheating, as they call it. So when people say that the government has nothing to do with all the emissions crap on these trucks, that is not true. And the reason why they keep making it more stringent on diesel engines is because they want people to stop buying them. That's why a lot of people on my channel have asked me in the past, hey, can you do more videos on gas HDs? Because a lot of people are saying, I don't really want to buy a diesel right now, because again, if you do a lot of city driving, I've said this a lot on my channel, if you do a lot of stop and go traffic, anything like that, if you like to idle your truck, that is just not good for diesels.
This next article is about Cummins having to pay the $1.67 billion. Now, it says here, this is to settle claims that the engine manufacturer unlawfully altered hundreds of thousands of pickup truck engines to bypass emissions tests. According to the U.S. Justice Department, which announced the agreement in principle Thursday, Cummins' alleged actions violated the Clear Air Act, a federal law that requires car and engine manufacturers to comply with emission limits. The $1.67 billion fine would be the largest civil penalty the Justice Department has secured under the Clear Air Act to date, and second largest environmental penalty ever secured. So 630,000 trucks were affected right here for the defeat devices, and this is for auxiliary emissions control devices for these trucks here. I'm not going to read the rest of this to you, but if you want to pause it, feel free to pause and read this right here.
I've always thought alleged with a lawsuit is just a little edgy for me, because it seems like you don't have all your facts. I don't know. Nevertheless, on the first article, it did say the court decided in 1984 that judges should defer to federal agencies in interpreting ambiguous parts of statutes. The idea was that if Congress passes a law where something is unclear or there is a gap, quote unquote, it is up to an agency to fill in the gap. In practice, that gave arms of the federal government, such as the EPA, the freedom to create and implement rules without fear of protracted legal battles. You know, it is what it is. You can't give a long leash to entities in the government, because obviously, as you guys saw, Cummins got sued for $1.6 billion. Cummins is one of the largest manufacturers of engines that go into the trucks that, you know, haul all of our goods, products, and services. So why would they put on a show like that? And I'm glad that they did, because this is why we need more people checking in on stuff. They need to give all these entities short leashes. Do I think that the EPA should pay back the money that they've taken? Absolutely they should. You know why? Because they had too long of a leash, and they basically interpreted the law, which means they can basically say whatever they want to say to win an argument. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Just saying. And let's not forget about the small businesses. Remember those shops that were doing those, you know, customer request weight loss? You know what I'm saying? Can't really say it on this type of video. But yeah, they did some things and got penalized for it. Small businesses. And so I know some of you guys don't like my political stance, and that's okay. We don't have to agree. But this is my opinion. I think that these entities overstep their bounds. They're not allowed to just interpret what they want to be the law, right? They're not allowed to do that. So when it's all said and done, I feel as though the manufacturer should 100% get reimbursed the money that they got taken from them, because at the end of the day, where did that money go anyways? Like, do we even know where the billions of dollars goes when they file these lawsuits against companies, American companies at that, right? Listen, if you're worried about health, the nitrous oxide that these trucks put out without the emission stuff, then stop eating at McDonald's. Like, McDonald's is probably killing more people than daggone what comes out of the tailpipe of this truck. I'm just being honest here, right? Or what about the medication? I mean, we can go really, really deep into 100% how to save more lives in America, but we don't want to have that discussion with the government, because they already have interpreted what they want you to believe. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm just giving my thoughts and my opinion. I think that the EPA was wrong in what they did, and I'm glad that the Republicans, the right-wingers, are fighting against it. And for years they've been fighting against it. So good job. I am happy to see these things happen in the political realm, because people should not be able to interpret the law the way they want. It should be black and white, male and female, all that good stuff. But I hope you guys liked the video. Let me get off this video before I say something to get me in trouble. This is like part of my financial, you know, income, so I have to be careful what I say, right? I don't really care if someone comes after me. It is what it is. I'll just find another job. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anybody. So if you are thinking that, because some guys have said to me, man, you need to really be careful what you say, man. You know, you're gonna hurt yourself with your income. I don't care. It is what it is. I can sell everything I have and still be fine. But yes, I'm done. Let me know your thoughts down below. I feel as though they were wrong in what they did and they should pay the money back. What do you guys think?
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.